Tonight's Gooder Entertainment production is brought to you by The Chopping Block, Minotti Woodcrafters, Pinkerton's Pit BBQ, Texas Boiled Doves, JB Waterway, All Fired Up Barbecue Cook-Off, Texas Original Charcoal, the Briscoe Ranch Cook-Off at the Crossroads, Smokin Magic, Texas High-Roller Events, Laredo Roofing Solutions, Navy SEAL Danny Deets Memorial Classic, Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation, The Barbecue Store, Mr. Keen Sharpening Service, Cosmos Cube Products, Half-Ass Cookers, Damn Yankee Texas Barbecue, Rectag, Quattro D Drum, We Branded Promotions, Texas Barbecue Bash, and Bull Printing Wraps and Graphics. Thank you for supporting the So Smokin Gooder Show.
Hey, we got no beer here. All right, I'm sorry. I won't talk again. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead, Robbie.
I call it bass boat.
Bass boating?
If you ever seen a bass boat go down the water and everything like that?
Oh, and he nailed it. Oh, shit. Hashtag bass boat.
Hey there, everybody. This is Aaron, the Retro Guy, host of the Morning Roast Radio Show, and you're locked in to the So Smokin Gooder Show. Give it to them, fellas.
If you're gonna put it in the box, put it in the box.
And stamp it.
This is Donnie Howard with Twisted D Cookers, and you're watching the So Smokin Gooder Show. Bullhorn worldwide, baby.
Three, two, one. Hi, I'm Brad.
And I'm Bree, and we're Smokin Magic.
And you're watching the So Smokin Gooder Show. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Hi, my name's Reagan Brazier of La Pasadena. You're watching the So Smokin Gooder Show. Are y'all high? Because I am. Enjoy the show.
Are you ready to? Are you ready to turn up the heat?
1. Let's go!
Because you've just tuned in to the one and only So Smokin Gooder Show. We're coming to you live from Bullhorn Barbecue headquarters in Cypress, Texas. This is the show where we talk all things barbecue and brews, and you better believe we're here to have a good time. Get ready for the man who knows barbecue like the back of his hand, the guy who can tell you the difference between an IPA and a stout blindfolded, and the life of every party, your barbecue pitmaster and the host with the most, Rob Arocha. Whether you're part of the Gooder Gang or just here for the special guest, barbecue competition updates, or maybe even to rate some boxes, strap in, fire up those smokers, and crack open a cold one, because the So Smokin Gooder Show starts now.
Good evening, Gooder Gang. Welcome to the show. We turn this down. Wes, can you turn that volume down a little bit? We'll be good to go. But yes, welcome to the show, Gooder Gang. There it is right there. What's kicking, chicken? Welcome back to the show, the very best fake internet barbecue show on these here interwebs. Thank you very much for tuning in. I am your host, Rob Rocha. I am coming to you from the Bullhorn Barbecue headquarters in Cypress, Texas. You guys know what time it is. It's Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central, and you guys know where to be. That is right here watching the So Smokin Gooder Show. If you're new here, we're going to have a lot of eyes, little new eyes on here. But if you're new here, don't worry, you're already part of the Gooder Gang. We do this, again, each and every Wednesday night, and we invite you to hang out with us. So crack open whatever's cold and tasty, and let's get this party started. Man, you know, I've been hyping this show. I'm excited for what we're going to be talking about tonight. The big drop, you know, the launch that's maybe going to shake up the barbecue landscape. I don't know, but we're diving headfirst into the Barbecue World Cup. That's right. It is the first showdown for whatever, you know, we've heard the number. We've heard it. $1 million.
$1 million.
Yes, qualifiers are popping off all over the world in the road to crowning the absolute king or queen. We got a lot of badass lady cookers out there worldwide. Do we know all that's going on with the Barbecue World Cup? No, we don't. But do we have the people behind the event? Yes, the co-founders of the Barbecue World Cup here to answer your questions. Absolutely. Joining us tonight from the Barbecue World Cup are founders Shannon Pruitt and Scott Erdmann. They're going to be here to answer all of your questions. So put them in the comments. Our co-host, Mr. Wes Garrett of Politically Incorrect, he's going to be highlighting them on the screen. But, you know, super chats are first to the screen. If you want to support the show, you're welcome to do a super chat. You can do that. Those questions will get asked first by Mr. Wes Garrett. All right, this is the Big League event. Introduce on the Big League show tonight. We're going exclusive. We're going to have insider scoop, deep details straight from the source and what it means for us as backyard bosses, comp crushers, whatever. People that live for that perfect bite of barbecue goodness. All right, so wherever you're checking us out, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much. And like the wise man Cosmo says, grab a drink, park your ass, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so you don't miss a thing. All right, I did tease it. My man Wes Garrett is in the house. Wes is a barbecue legend from Mississippi. Do they have a Mississippi Hall of Fame? I think they do. And if they don't, we're creating one tonight on the show. But Wes Garrett, he is a badass barbecuer from Mississippi. He's in the Mississippi Barbecue Hall of Fame. But he's just a fun guy. He's a killer cook. He's got epic stories. And one of these things that came up was he won a grand championship even after 40 gallons of water tried to flood his trailer. We're going to ask him about that. But he's the guy that was behind the mic of the Chicken Fried contest or Chicken Fried show with Chicken Fried. So we're very happy to have him on our show tonight. And he's just an all-around great guy. He's going to bring some good barbecue wisdom. So he's going to ask the right questions for all of us watching tonight with our guest tonight. So I'm excited. Let's bring him on right now, Mr. Wes Garrett of Piglitically Incorrect. Welcome to the show, my man. Get in here, Wes.
What is up? Hey,
how was that?
Let me just go ahead and start this show off right.
Let's do it.
Eddie Morales, you're already on strike 2. Just so you know, me and Rob are trying to get our dancing, steps down. We're stepping on some toes. I'm trying to, it may have came out a little rough. We're going to make this thing awesome tonight. But literally, strike 2. One more word and you're done.
One more.
Can we just go ahead and put that out there? One more off word and Eddie's out of this thing tonight.
I do. Our main producer Ty. He's out on vacation. Yes. We're out. We can give him PTO around here. No, I'm just kidding. He's not taking PTO from our show, but he is taking a vacation, and he was really upset that he's going to miss this big show at the Barbecue World Cup. But Ty, I hope you're having a good time out there. You're in good hands with producer Wes and co-host Wes for tonight. I didn't say West, did I? I didn't mean to.
I think you did. So
it was.
We're not even having strike 1s tonight. We're going straight to strike 2s, and that's okay. But we're going to have fun, man. This is something I think everybody's talked about. This has been kind of the buzz of barbecue, and lot of questions, and I'm sure there's going to be some great answers. So we can kind of, get all the information out there so people can stop asking and texting. And, well, did you hear about this? So I'm excited.
That's what I love about what's going on, right? We don't know exactly what's going on, but we do have the people on tonight that's which is questions all throughout the barbecue landscape, right? They are going to be flying tonight. So if you have questions, like I mentioned earlier, put them in the comments. The Gooder Gang, y'all are the best part of the show. If you're not familiar with our show, I already said it. We do it each and every Wednesday night. And we do highlight the Gooder Gang. Y'all are the best part of the show. So speaking of which, we are going to do right now. First in was Daddy Dutch Barbecue. Thank you very much. Larry Vaughn, afternoon from South Jersey. So producer Wes, tonight, you just put them down and I'll read them. If you can go in order. Pit Life Barbecue. What's up, Gooder Gang? Eddie Morales, probably because of Wes. No. YouTube isn't working.
What? Guys, I'm getting 70% of the show tonight, so we need all channels to work.
Yes, check it out. Check it out. Well, YouTube should be working. It is. I see YouTube comments. What's going on here? My Pits Are Burning from YouTube. James Dotson, what is going on? Jen Lee, she just announced September 12th as the Danny Dietz Memorial Classic. Wes, you were there last year. That was awesome.
Awesome event, man. I'm telling you cannot miss that one.
Yep. Lance Bracco in the house. Braden's in the house. Steven Lozano. Sean Trainer. We've got Braden. There he goes. Firebox Barbecue. And then Louie. There he is right there. RGC of the San Antonio Rodeo. We're talking about this guy right there. Who else we got? There's a Angelique McClendon. What's up? It's 9:06. Yeah, I know. You guys are on the East Coast. Bobby Delgado, what's going on? Eddie Morales. Shauna Tillotson, what's up? Jaime Balderas. Mark Pugh. Brandon Perriman, James Miller. I've got to read all of you guys here because y'all are awesome. Randall Johnson, AJ Garza, Tracy Sproul, Matt Casper, Buddy Northrup, GC, the Humble Rodeo recently. Thank you, buddy. Awesome. Good job. Bourbon and Blues. There they are right there. Man, Eddie's on your butt tonight, man, already. What's up with that?
Yeah, we're going to have a problem. He's not making it into the show.
Just watched a hold screen on YouTube and missed the first 10 minutes. What's going on? I don't know what's going on with YouTube. But we'll fix that. We'll get him on there. The real Little Gringo, has Wes ever been to Vegas?
We're not going to talk about it on this show, but we can do a
Taylor
call.
Chapa with all fired up. What's going on? All right, let's get through the Jacob Kennedy. Hey, look at that guy. Daryl Walker, Sweetie's Barbecue's in the house. Hannah Garrett's in the house. Top two ways to get Wes worked up are: number one, get his barbecue trailer messy with muddy shoes, and two, be an Ole Miss fan. All righty there. What was that? Did you try? Did 40 gallons of water try to flood your trailer one time, bro?
Good. Well, yeah. Damn near missed chicken turn in because I was going to make sure to get it up. I didn't care. Ended up killing that contest. So from that point forward, I would always spill a cup of water on the floor until it didn't hit anymore. And then I was like, all right, we've run out of luck on this. So if I have issues with any type of flooding in the trailer, we know it's a top 5 cook. Guaranteed.
Hey, I like it. Cody Allenbar, Bill Hines in the house.
There's a legend right there.
He's a legend, and Lindsey Vincent. So how you been, brother? You doing good? Have your season started yet? I know it's February. When does that kick off for Piglitically Incorrect?
Man, it has been busy at work. And to be honest with you, I would normally look at maybe Sipping Swine to get started out. But speaking of Mr. Bill Hine, if he goes or someone in that St. Louis, Illinois area goes to Sipping Swine, they take it. So I've just decided not going to go over there and waste my money. Let those guys clean up like they always do. But our year will start at Smoke on the Shores in Lebanon, Tennessee. And then from there, we'll piece together the year and, travel some. But there's a lot of stuff that's not out there. And somebody can tell me, are they just not putting them out? Are they yet to be out? It just seems light this year. On the KCBS schedule, that is.
Yeah.
We're not talking Texas where they cook twice a week. We're talking KCBS.
it does look like, because I am checking the score. I'm not going to do it today. Sorry. Wrap up recap and upcoming events. Not happen today because we got lots to talk about with our guests, and we're going to get them on here in just a second. I promise you. But Briscoe Ranch, there's Wade in the house. Mentioned you earlier, brother. 4-time event of the year for CBA. But I think we're good, man. Are we ready to bring on our guest for the evening, Wes?
Absolutely. Let's get these guys on.
I'm excited, man. This is like the talk of barbecue right now. We're talking about the Barbecue World Cup, and we have the co-founders on, Shannon Pruitt and Scott Erdmann. I don't know how long we're going to have Shannon with us tonight. She's got mommy duties, but she's being a trooper, and she's coming on here to answer your questions and get on here. But welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much. You guys are the talk of barbecue right now. Please introduce yourself to the Gooder gang, maybe your background, and, just talk about yourselves before we get into the big Barbecue World Cup. How'd y'all get into this barbecue thing, guys?
Oh, I'll go first because I'm going to have to go first. But I'll leave you in good hands with Scott, and thank you for having us. We're really excited to be here.
Absolutely.
So Shannon Pruitt. So I found my way into barbecue when I met Scotty about over a year ago now. But really, I first found my way to barbecue like so many people in my dad's, backyard, and we were hang out and have family reunions and all things, and kind of fell in love with what barbecue stands for, right? Community and coming together and family and cooking and great food and all the things. And but then as I grew up, I started working on big sporting events like World Cup, for MasterCard, and activating MasterCard sponsorship of World Cup in Japan and Korea. And then I moved into entertainment and worked on American Idol and America's Got Talent and Price is Right and every big shiny floor show you've ever seen. And my job was to do commercial deals for those shows. So how do you bring that experience to the fans and let the fans engage, with the show, with the IP, whether it's through an Idol camp or an experience at Disney World, or, a licensing agreement with a partner, who wants to bring it to life like Coke or Ford or AT&T. So I did a lot of that kind of work for a long time. And then I moved more into the marketing space and worked for The Honest Company and some other places, and just around advertising and media and technology. And so when I met Scott, he was telling me that he had this idea about sort of like an American Idol for barbecue. And I was like, well, that sounds very interesting and sounds like something fun to go build and bring people together. And it fits with all the things I like to do. And so I asked him if I could, leave my job and come work with him full time. And so here we are.
Beautiful. Awesome. You got some big time experience into doing these kind of big events. So I'm excited that you're a part of this for sure.
Thank you so much.
Scott,
Shannon,
go ahead,
listening to your resume, I looked at mine and it does not compare with what you just said. I'm like, wow. Where did I fail? That's pretty.
That's why we brought her in.
Good job, Scott. I mean, hell, you got an absolute headhunter over here.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. It's very kind.
Yeah. And again, thanks for having us. And my name's Scott Erdmann, and similar to Shannon, my background, primarily has been just professional sports for 20 years. So, I started with the Florida Panthers. I feel like I always have to say the hockey team in Florida, at least when I was there, a lot of people weren't aware of who the Florida Panthers were. So anyway, they're doing very well now. So the hockey team in Florida is where I started. Then I had a small stint at Florida Atlantic University. I helped build their stadium and on the commercial revenue side, and I got to work with a legend, Howard Schnellenberger, which in the college football space, anybody who knows that knows college football knows that guy's a legend. So I got to work with him for a year, which was absolutely incredible. Then went to the Dallas Cowboys, spent 10 years at the Cowboys, and then more recently moved out to the Las Vegas Raiders project to bring the Raiders to Vegas. And so my job has been, on the commercial revenue side, media, sponsorship, social, digital, all the things. So, I think I'll give some context of how the heck we got into barbecue. And please. Rob, you were actually, the first event that I got thrown into was the Texas Shootout at AT&T Stadium back in 2024, I think April.
Yeah.
And you know, I was helping a friend, and anybody in Texas, Funtown RV, you know, big RV dealership. He puts on a big RV show at AT&T Stadium, and he reached out and he was like, "Hey, I want to put on a barbecue competition." He's like, "Do you know anybody?" And I'm like, "Not really." I was like, "I know a couple people that cook." And there's a guy actually in Vegas, Michael Core, who's a Fox 5 GM, and he's a competition cook. And I just happened to be talking to him one day, and he's like, "Oh, you got to reach out to CBA if you're going to do an event in Texas. They got a really good, you know, sanctioning body and, you know, scoring." And I know that's why I love this stuff.
I'm just joking. I'm kidding.
No, you're well on the right path, brother. But no,
Listen,
there's a lot of great sanctioning bodies.
Hey, two years into this, that's the one thing I realized. This is like, you know, you start talking politics, you know, when you get into, you know, barbecue and sanctioning bodies and all the things. But, you know, anyway, got thrown into this, and, you know, I get there, and Friday I'm backing trailers in, and guys are like, you know, and everybody's like, "Well, I want to be near my buddy." I'm like, "I have no clue who your buddy is." Right. Like, you know, so we're trying to figure this out. Thank goodness we had a ton of space. But yeah, we use CBA as a sanctioning body for that one. Again, had no idea who to use, what to use. Brenda came down, and she was the woman that helped us, you know, put this all together. And, you know, I'm putting up tents, and we're trying to find judges, and, you know, doing all the things. But, you know, where it really started to click was, you know, was that Friday night. I'm rolling around, and, you know, I'm talking with Rob and, you know, Bill Purvis and Phil Breeden, and, you know, you just really see, you know, what an awesome community it is, and everybody coming together. But, you know, I'm just have a beer and just bounce around in the trailers. You go in one guy's trailer, he's telling you to do, you know, this is how he preps his, you know, his brisket, and this is why you do it this way. And you go to another trailer, and like, that guy's an idiot. He has no idea what he's doing. Right. So, you know, I fell in love with that side of things. And, you know, as I was flying back, you know, I just started researching, and really for the last 2 years, you know, putting together, you know, the business plan to take to investors. Cause again, as Shannon alluded to, American Idol for barbecue, I'm like, man, Phil's telling me he travels 52 weeks a year. He's in Australia. He's in, you know, over here and all over the place. I'm like, how is this not televised? Like, how is this not on a bigger scale? Right. And just given my resources, Shannon's resources, you know, of everything that we've been a part of, and, you know, dealing with these big brands and media groups, you know, it's like, how do we get all of that, you know, and have that fuel point to barbecue?
100%. Let me speak on the event you did at Cowboy Stadium. That was your first event, as you mentioned. That was awesome. You know, to be able to be right under the Death Star, you know, of Cowboy Stadium in there. And, you know, you had all these teams that went there and traveled, and y'all did have plenty of space. Just the event, y'all were great. And you mentioned the RV show that was going on. It was a big deal. It was a big production, and we had our nice contest there. But you guys you pulled it off, man. And that was our first time to meet. And the fact that you understood or kind of took in barbecue is like Americana, right? You got all these really interesting, kind of neat people just hanging out and doing there and cooking, you know, barbecue, right? What's more American than that? Or, you know, just traditional stuff. And to recognize, hey, why isn't this kind of televised? It's kind of neat. So I'm excited to see what you got coming from there.
I saw Eddie had a question, you know, who's the Grand and Reserve. So it's actually very interesting because I asked Brenda on Friday night, because she travels around with CBA, knows a lot of these cooks and a lot of the teams that had showed up. But yeah, fun fact, I was like, Brenda, who do you think wins this? And she said, it'll either be, you know, Bill Purvis or Phil Breeden. They came in first and second, and it blew my mind because we had no judge, you know, like everybody that was judging had no judging experience.
Yeah. Off the street.
Like, it just, like, that was really cool to see that, you know, you didn't have to have experience to know, you know, what good barbecue was. So it was super interesting, but that's who's the GC and RGC.
Do you mind me asking? Because again, I don't cook the minors, so I like to stay in the majors. But that's going to bring in a lot of heat, so I was intentionally doing that. What did you guys give away? What was the first and second place prize? Could you maybe jump in on that?
Yeah, so we gave away an RV. I think it was like a $60,000 RV, and then we had, I think, $15,000 cash that got distributed, and then we had a Cowboys preseason suite. I think I had like 10 tickets in that. I still owe Bill Purvis that, by the way. So I didn't forget that, Bill, if you're out there. But yeah, that's what we gave away. And honestly, that was like the other piece that was interesting, because I think there was like 3 or 4 other competitions going on in the area that same weekend.
Yeah.
And so just asking everybody, like, why the heck did you come to this one? Right. And it was like, you go where the prize money is, right? Whoever's got the biggest purse. And that's where, that aha moment was like, man, you can probably get a lot of people to travel, for a big lump sum of money.
Well, and think about it. You're cooking inside the shadows of Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I mean, whether you like them or not, you can appreciate that stadium and that whole arena.
Yeah, it was nice.
I saw videos of it. I saw, man, it was sweet. So good job on that.
Definitely different to have a contest right under the shadow of the Cowboy Stadium. It was nice. And I'm not a Cowboy fan at all, but it was still pretty cool. It was really neat. And they had, not only that, you had the awards in that little Miller Lite section with the turf deal. I mean, it was just first class all the way. It was really a fun event, man. And, the fact that you're behind this and that was your first go at it is pretty exciting for me because of the experience that we had, which was all great. It was just a great experience. And the prizes, like you mentioned, were awesome. You could turn that preseason suite into a Raiders, probably easier for you right now. Right now.
Yeah, I know. Times are tough in the football side of things for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Who y'all drafting number 1?
I mean, I am in Vegas, so if you're a betting man, I think you gotta throw the money on the kid from Indiana,
Fernando.
Mendoza.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
that guy's a stud, man.
He is, but also I don't know, maybe he is a good candidate for Vegas. He seems like he would do well in this type of environment. You get a lot of 20, 21, 22-year-olds out in Vegas. With a lot of money. It's not the easiest place to live.
Yeah.
You're going to turn that good Christian boy into an absolute sinner. And we're going to catch him on he's going to be some rehab. Good job there, Scott.
I hear the Browns are dangling Deshaun Watson out there. It's probably a good setting for Deshaun out there in Vegas. You never know.
That's why I got out of sports. I'm only barbecue now. I don't have to be involved in that hectic chaos.
I love it. Well, let's get on to barbecue, shall we? This is exciting. Like I mentioned, Wes and I were talking earlier today. There's a lot of questions surrounding it, but the overall feeling of it is excitement, right? So, $1 million prize pool. That's the biggest headline. That's what catches people's attention. Can you tell us more about like how that's going to be structured? Is it going to be going to the grand champion? Are there going to be categories? How do you see that playing out as far as the $1 million prize pool, because that's the attention getter. That's what draws people's eyes to it.
For sure. And we're obviously going through a lot of this in real time, and I can give some context to we probably launched a little earlier than we were anticipating, but the goal there is Slaborama, CBA, Worlds, Slaborama was an event that, we met Tashura out here at Barbecue Jackpot, Christie's event. And, we just started talking and then we have the committee of pitmasters, right, that helps try to identify, some of the events around the country. Cause that's the goal, is to spread this across the globe, right? So everybody has a pathway into the World Cup. So I say all of that is, with Tashura, I think they were at like 25, 30 teams. And then when we announced it, I think they shot up to 60, right? And that's kind of the goal with everything is it's better, a lot of the 501c3s, manage a lot of these, events from a promoter perspective. So there's more money that they can give back to their community. There's more money that goes into the prize pools and the ancillaries and, all the things, of getting more teams there. So I say that is like we launched probably a little bit early, but it was, more so in conjunction to help some of these other events that are taking place, right? Like San Antonio Rodeo doesn't need help, getting teams. Houston doesn't need help getting teams, but, how do we lift all competitions kind of around together? So hopefully that gives some context there. And then on the $1 million prize, it's going to end up being more than $1 million. right? Because we're going to give away $1 million to the grand champion. It's not cash and prizes. It's $1 million. It's $1 million.
You're giving a coupon book. Don't lie. It's $1 million worth of coupons.
That's a lot of coupons.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But yeah, so the goal is to create that and to find theoretically the best pitmaster in the world, right? I think there's a ton of legacy events out there that have been out there, right? You got the Royal and Memphis in May and the Jack, and there's all these iconic events that have existed for a long time. And one of the interesting things is, there's some roadblocks to kind of get into all of these different various events. Not all of them, but it's like, how do we build something that it's like you could catch lightning in a bottle at Lakeland, and then all of a sudden, you're competing for, the $1 million prize. But anyway, the plan would be $1 million prize. There would be an additional bucket of money to give out to, 1 through 10 chicken, 1 through 10 ribs, right? Like all of the things that are kind of traditional. So, hopefully everybody's walking away with something. And the plan is to hopefully get to 100 cooks cooking at this event. And then the one thing that will drop is basically we're looking at like a 3-day event, 100 teams competing, then it drops down to 50 teams competing, drops to 25. And then Sunday, the 25 teams compete, right, for the $1 million prize. So that's nice. That's kind of the structure that we're looking at, judging and all of that stuff. We're working through all of that stuff as we speak. And we're just trying to bring a collective group, and a collective viewpoint, from all over, if we're going to create this, $1 million prize. And again, the thought is that this should be the hardest thing you've ever done from a cooking perspective.
Yeah,
absolutely. Have you had it figured out yet on which sanctioning body you guys are going to kind of cater after, or is that still yet to be determined?
Yeah, still TBD, right? We obviously there's the 800-pound gorilla out there with KCBS. There's, CBA. There's a lot of great organizations, and we're trying to be, outside of that, right? We're not trying to be in the weeds of you should be cooking this way and your event should be this event. Like we're trying to say, hey, well, as long as, we're coming up with some of those parameters for qualifying events, right? Like, our thing is that, if you're going to be the best pitmaster in the world, you can't just cook, steak and wings, and be considered the best pitmaster in the world, right? Because there's a lot that, we have planned for this, afterwards, right? Like you see what happens with, folks that win American Idol and, what goes on after that. And, hopefully the plan is to build, celebrity chefs and, create all of these, other opportunities, for them, to have their business flourish, sauces, seasonings, rubs, all of these different things. But anyway, long-winded way to get around. We're trying to stay out of the sanctioning body stuff. So I think it'll be a little bit of a hybrid in terms of like the judging. And we got a great group of judges that we're assembling that come from all different backgrounds, to help us kind of bring this together. What's up, Brenda?
Hey, I should have asked you this first, but can you oversee us kind of like your vision? Like, what do you envision like the Vegas deal kind of happening? Like, is this parking lot? Is there a convention center? Or is this, I know there's, I've heard TVs kind of mentioned, you just mentioned it. Why isn't this on TV? Like what's in y'all's mind kind of, can you give us just I know we're still kind of working through the processes, but what's the overall vision for this event? Like what can a team that rolls up in there kind of expect?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're looking at this as like, a very first class event. So right on, the Strip in Vegas, and, creating, something, that is a celebration of barbecue, right? I think one of the challenges that, and I don't want to speak for all promoters, but just in terms of like traveling around, putting on a contest, right? Everybody puts on contests and they look at sponsorship, to help drive that. And they're like, oh man, we're putting on barbecue. So, Traeger's going to come in, Rectech's going to come in, right? Like we could easily get, $100,000, $200,000 in sponsorship, and it's challenging, right? Like it's hard to find that person. You find somebody there that's a great person and the conversation's great. The next thing you know, they're not sponsoring your event, and you're like, man, like, I thought we were going to do $100,000 in sponsorship revenue. So anyway, I say all of that is like the competition side has been challenged with, like the public side, right? Like it's really two separate things, right? You know, Lakeland, and we went down to Lakeland, and you got half the festival over there that's engaging with, you know, live fire things and beer and music and this thing. So we're trying to bring a hybrid of that to Vegas, right? So that's where the Expo piece comes in. So we're trying to create, you know, think of CES, if anybody's ever heard of that, the Consumer Electronics Show. It's like 120,000 people come into Vegas every year, but it's like all the latest and greatest technology, the biggest brands in the world activating at this. And for us, it's like, well, the largest one, believe it or not, that exists is actually, I think, in Italy and Paris. And there's a group, BBQ Expo, you know, that we've followed and have talked to, and they get 20, 30,000 people that come out. And it's just really this, what's the latest and greatest in equipment and sauces and seasonings. And I want to meet my, you know, favorite creator. I want to meet my favorite pitmaster, you know, that I followed. And so I think it's a little bit of this like Fanatics Fan Fest meets barbecue meets the top 100 teams from around the world competing. So we're creating a family friendly event adjacent to this going on. And yes, we're in conversation to have, you know, that event be, you know, a televised piece as well.
That's great. Yeah. So there's a lot of expos that go out there. You know, I'm in the crane industry, and we've got our big one next month, the Con Expo out there in Vegas. Yeah. So I can kind of see, you know, I've been out there, so I understand what it looks like out there. So I'm curious to see. I'm excited to see if you're able to get, you know, and I'm sure you're going to have pit builders, drum builders, people in the barbecue world that want to be a part of this, to come out there and set up shop to make it like a, you know, an exposition. So I'm definitely excited to hear about that.
Well, and one thing, you know, we had a couple people that already started to reach out from a brand perspective and say, hey, like, we want to secure a spot. Like, we don't know the details yet, but we're already starting to take inquiries for brands to come out. And again, like, how do we create this pitmaster community where people can sell their sauces and seasonings and rubs, and you know, there's master classes. So, but you know, the brand side of things, we're already starting to take a lot of calls, you know, for brands to come out and be involved in this.
This is going to be the SEMA of barbecue, is what you're saying.
That's what we're shooting for.
It sounds like. Yeah.
Listen, if we get 10% of that right, you know, this is an absolute home run.
Absolutely.
So I know you'll have qualifiers that you're rolling out. You're still continuing to roll out, and I'm sure you're selecting, you know, the events that you're going to do as to be qualifiers. And it's exciting because a lot of the ones you've picked are, you know, kind of like top end kind of events. And I'm sure y'all are going to review that and then look at other events as well. But you kind of mentioned a number of 100. Is that a solid cap number, or y'all, is there just depends on the space or what? And these qualifiers, how are y'all taking, how can you qualify for this event?
Yeah. So on the number, 100's the number that we're targeting. We have the majority of the qualifiers, I would say 85, 90% of them, you know, that are out there on our social channels, you know, website, you know, like I said, we're building the plane and flying it too. It's not perfect. It's definitely a bumpy ride. You know, It's like, we got the oxygen masks on. We're like, oh, we forgot seats. Right. So, you know, all of this is happening in real time, but we got a really good team that's kind of, you know, tackling all of this in real time. So anyway, you know, all of the qualifiers, or I'd say 90% of them will be on, you know, the website, you know, and they're up there right now. So qualifying wise, you know, we have the majority of those. I think we have a handful of spots, you know, that we're still taking inquiries on. And then, you know, again, we sit down and kind of go through with our committee members and, you know, sit back and go, hey, what are ones that we should, right? But then there's also, you know, our committee members are awesome. Like, they're helping provide a lot of insight into the competition world, you know, as it relates to that. So I wouldn't, the hard part for us is there's so many incredible groups out there, and, you know, and like, we're getting so many people that are emailing in, and they have incredible events, and they're raising money for kids or scholarships or, you know, fallen soldiers. You know, a lot of these have great events. And so the plan is to open this up next year for sure, where it's like, how do we have a lot more opportunities for all of these events around the world that have a pathway, you know, into the World Cup. So, you know, we're still going through, we have a handful left. Like I said, the majority of them are out there. We're trying to nail down the majors, right? Your Memphis and Mays, the KCBS, or the World Opens, the Jack Daniels, the American Royal. Those are ones that we're trying to nail down literally as we speak. And then from an international perspective, I know we launched that on social. There's a handful of ones that we're literally in the process of trying to nail down. And, we just got one finalized today, Smoke and Fire Festival in Maldon in the UK. Right. And so we're getting all of these people reaching out like, hey, come promote our event. So one of the things I would say is that, we are looking at we feel like brisket is, one thing that an event probably has to cook, right? If you're going to be the best pitmaster in the world, I feel like that's one that you have to, but again, we're trying to work with some of these different groups and, is it minimum 3 meats, minimum 4 meats? So anyway.
No, this is great. And that was one of the questions, what are y'all selecting? But right now that's still up in the air as far as the categories. But brisket, I agree. That should be definitely one.
But, on the category side, like I said, we're going through all that. Like, this is going to be going back to, this is, if you're competing for $1 million, right? This has got to be one of the hardest cooks you've ever done. Like, that's kind of the thesis, behind it. So, there's going to be a little bit of twists and turns. It's not going to be your gimmicky TV show where it's like, all right, now you got to cook with, one hand behind your back. You know what I mean? Like, It'll be kind of true pitmaster, but like, how do we identify that? What are things that we can put in there? So we're working through all that stuff right now. We hope to have that probably figured out probably by April. Also, when we announce the destination and the location, we're talking with all the properties, Resorts World, Fontainebleau, Wynn, MGM, Caesars, on who wants to partner and host this and create, what NFR has done in Cowboy Christmas. If anybody's ever come out for that, it's incredible. So we're trying to find that right partner, but hopefully by April we got that locked in.
Yeah. Scott, there's been several questions so far in the comments. And one of them that I had on my list to ask you is, do we know about the entry fee going into this? Is there going to be, a lot of these big contests, if you win to get in, they may cover your entry fee. Is this something where they're going to have that? And if so, do we know an amount?
Yeah. So, on our website right now, so it's $50 to become a member of the Barbecue World Cup, right? Our goal is to have a lot more things that get turned on with discounts and things like that from big sponsors, where it becomes even more valuable. But in order to be in order to be a judge that's selected or a team that qualifies, right, we have it broken up in 2 buckets. So members that pay the $50, if you sign up and actually do that before your actual competition, then your fee would only be $500 for the actual World Cup.
Sweet.
If you're not a member and you just say, hey, I'm going to roll the dice and I'm going to go right, Houston or wherever, and I'm going to roll the dice and I don't want to pay the $50, the fee's $1,250. So we're trying to entice people to pay before, but we also don't want to have to deal with like the situation where somebody's like, oh, I won or I didn't know about it, So that's the way that we're structuring that is members would pay $500 for the World Cup. And then non-members would pay $1,250.
Nice. You had mentioned earlier the way it's going to be winner take all on the million, correct?
Correct.
However, you're going to have a bucket for the categories. Do we know that yet, or is that still kind of being negotiated out with sponsors?
Yeah,
like how that's going to be paid out.
Yeah, and we'll probably end up, somewhere in that 125 range in terms of prize money. Okay. So it's going to be, again, we're trying to figure out all of that stuff as we speak. But as you know, it depends on kind of categories, what categories we select. If it's 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be, that'll dictate, all the rest. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have all that stuff, try to have that ironed out by April, where, gives a little bit more clarity. But again, also the beauty of this is, there's some things that we'll hold in our back pocket for a little bit. Right. Cause again, you're cooking for $1 million. You got to make it exciting. All of these great cooks that are, between you guys and listening, there's been a standard, and you wake up, you don't need to think about it. You got your playbook, you run it, right? So, our job's somewhat to throw a little bit of a wrench into that, and to create, some challenge, for you.
Absolutely. You're muted there, Rob.
My bad. I know Wes is starring some of your comments, and we'll ask those to Scott here in just a moment. But I understand, and you kind of mentioned that you're talking to a bunch of pitmasters, right? Y'all have a selection committee or some kind of competition committee, which you've got pitmasters from all over the sanctioning bodies, all over the country, which is, to me, that's great. You're getting voices from people that compete in these kind of competitions. What have you learned from these pitmasters that is kind of bring in something, or you must know, or you must have? What should these contests must have, and what you've learned from these pitmasters that are contributing to this event?
I mean, it's a great question. There's just so much wealth of knowledge, right? And one of the things, early on that, I started to learn about was, the Sam's Club, and everybody loved the Sam's Club and like what that was and how that was. And, like ideally, like we've already had conversations of how do we get to that point where we kind of recreate that. Right. And then there's the pathway. And again, like I mentioned, our goal is to have, maybe a West Coast competition that's Barbecue World Cup qualifier. And then we take 50 qualifiers on the West Coast that have a pathway into that qualifier, right? 50 in the Midwest, 50 on the East Coast. So anyway, I say all that is, there's just a wealth of knowledge, that you get to, learn about. And people have been doing this for, 10, 15, 20 years. They travel all over. There's a lot of industry knowledge, between events and promoters and, people in, on the media side, that they're just, super helpful with. And then it's, hey, I'm thinking that we should do X, Y, and Z from a competition standpoint. And it's like, you got to be careful of this. And, just, as a team, you're like, be aware of these landmines, right? Like you go down that road and, judges can't eat, 6 pounds of brisket each, right? It's like, all right, like didn't think of that, so it's just a balance of, that industry knowledge and, the pie in the sky ideas, my Elon Musk ideas of, what we can do with barbecue. So it's super helpful from that perspective. But yeah, it's tough to do it without people that have that knowledge.
Well, I appreciate you getting that knowledge from those guys, right? I appreciate you reaching out and understanding kind of like what challenges we have and what challenges you have. You mentioned, that first time parking somebody next to their buddies and stuff like that. It's crazy, like that people, the promoters and the people that put on the events and people that are running the events and judging the events. Everybody has their own set of challenges, and it's great that you're listening to all of those. Go ahead, Wes.
No, I was going to, hey, look, the hard questions are coming up, Scott. We're kind of just teasing you just a moment.
Oh, you're good.
I don't know if we need to wait to get to halftime or you need to make a drink, but it's about to get deep.
No, I'm already lubed up. We're good.
All right. I like it.
So I was just going to say the number one question, and we'll just rip the Band-Aid off here. We'll give you a moment to dial into do we already have proof of life? Do we have escrow account? Can you dial into the bank and just show the screen? Is this thing 100% funded, or is it still waiting?
So we're under NDA with with investors on all that stuff. So yes, I left a 20-year career, in sports, right? Shannon left, right. A long time career and, very, very well-paying jobs, come make this happen. So I would say that, I got a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old in the other room, and you probably hear them screaming. Right. So, I say all of those things that yes, I'd love to share all the details, but those details will come out of who's investing, celebrities, right? Those are the things that we're literally in the, in the process of, finalizing, the cap table, what all that stuff looks like, who's involved. And there's a lot of big names of people that you're going to be very, very aware of. But yeah, once we get to that point, I promise you we'll share, you'll see all the press releases of all the names and people behind this.
Wonderful. Wes and I are available if you need us, by the way.
We're not on that list you spoke of. We're not moving the needle. I will cut you a check. Just do not cash it to February 30th.
Just like Kmart layaway.
Exactly.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's how I got ready for school back in the day. Kmart layaway, bro. But yes, so this is exciting. Wes, do you have any other hard questions before we get some Gooder Gang comments? Because they're asking they're asking some the questions there. So we mentioned entry fee already. Somebody said, how do you prevent stacking a team? I mean, that is, I think you can. I mean, your team you qualify with, you got to bring with you, or you can't be bringing Bill Purvis as your dishwasher for advice.
He does not wash dishes or wash or clean. So there you can't use that lie. Let's just
that was the wrong one to ask. But I saw the goats in the comments, Darren Ward, Gabe and the goat, they competed at San Antonio.
Eddie thought you were talking about him for just a moment.
Eddie did?
When you said the goat.
Yeah, no, not
He's
Eddie.
as tall as a goat.
Gabe and the goat. I interviewed Darren. I called him the old goat. He's awesome. He's awesome. Yeah, so stacking teams. I mean, just don't be that guy where you.
But we got, obviously these are, again, things that we've thought through. Right. And the plan is that we can't control other events that are taking place. Right. We can't go into Lakeland and tell them that they got to monitor these things. Now, hopefully maybe in the future, there's some things that we can start to, create, but the plan basically is, if whoever is the head cook and the team that's registered is going to be the one who qualifies for the World Cup, right? So that person who qualifies for the World Cup will be able to select one teammate. That teammate cannot have been a head cook at any sanctioned event within 2 years, right? And then ultimately, at the end of the day, the committee also has kind of veto rights on the team. Because again, the goal with this, and again, I love the barbecue community is awesome because again, Darren and Gabe, he's like, we go down San Antonio, Darren already qualified in Lakeland. He's like, I'm going to go compete there. And we're aware of those things and we're not trying to break those things up, but the goal is to figure out who is the best pitmaster in the world. Right. So that's the goal. And, it's not necessarily a team of, 20 that are going to compete. Cause again, we're not dumb. You put $1 million up there, you go get 4 of the best cooks. You're like, let's just take 250 each. And then let's go and compete at this thing.
Right.
So, we got some parameters set up for that. And then another thing to maybe touch on is if anybody does qualify at an event and then they go to another event and they qualify again, it'll just get passed down. So overall, if you have 2 people that were GC and RGC that already qualified, it'll go to 3rd and 4th.
I like that a lot. I like a good 9th place qualifier.
Yeah.
That's usually kind of where I hit. So that's perfect.
Just creating an opportunity.
I like it, man. You guys have thought about all of this.
I like it too. Here's a question that I've heard. Will teams be able to bring their rigs? Or is this going to be, is that still up in the air as far as, or I've also heard that we're going to be having tents and maybe not our own equipment. We have to cook on supplied equipment and maybe the meats will also be supplied. Can you shed a little light on those type of questions?
Yeah, for sure. And again, these things are always, I would say subject to change. From an equipment standpoint, the plan is to create, an area that everybody's got everything, right? Those are the things we're talking through right now, but the plan would be equipment provided. Can we get an offset and you got 2 drums and a kettle, right? Is that enough? Or, so we're literally talking through all that stuff, but yes, the plan would be, everybody's kind of cooking, in a row next to each other. Obviously, we would create barriers between each of the teams, but the plan would be equipment to be provided. Food, same thing. We're looking at this thing and we're going, people traveling, but our goal is if food is provided, the plan would be to have, all of the top meats there, right? We're not trying to have people, necessarily cook on, choice products. But again, like, that's the beauty of this, Wes, is like what you were talking about on the political side of this stuff is like, some people are like, just give everybody choice stuff and let's see who's really the best. You know what I mean? That's the beauty about barbecue. But the plan would be to have every, the brands show up with their best, right? Like Snake River Farms and, all of these folks show up with their best. Now figuring out how teams select, we'll figure all that stuff out, down the road. But the plan 100% is equipment. We're leaning towards all of the food being provided as well. And this isn't going to be because of sponsors paying a massive amount of money and now you have to cook with their products. We're trying to kind of keep this true, to the competition side.
Level playing field, right? So
like
that is good. That is good. So go ahead, Wes. I thought, I had a question.
Yeah, I did have another question I wanted to ask you. Earlier in the show, you had mentioned that it was going to be, you felt, 3 days, it was going to be, as it whittles down into the winter, which that's awesome. But, none of these guys are athletes out there. Just want you to look at them. I don't know if they can last 3 days. If you do that, is there a way to maybe you're going to switch up sanctioning bodies for each 3 days, or would it stick with one throughout the entirety?
No, it's a good question. I would say, like, even that is, that's why we have a committee, is to help us kind of go through these things, think through, some of the challenges and things that get created out of it. Mm-hmm. But no, listen, it's a great idea. Like, definitely something to kind of take back. I think, we're trying to figure out a way where, this is a little bit different than everybody else's, right? From a sanctioning body standpoint, but how do you kind of stay true to this? So it'll probably be a little bit of a hybrid that we end up, I think settling on, but it's a great question. And yeah, I think 3 days in Vegas is going to be a challenge for some people, but hopefully, like, competing for $1 million, hopefully you're like, I'm going back to my room, I'm locking the door, I'm not going out.
You do know you're going to organically lose about 7 to 12 teams that are not going to show up for.
You're going to have to. Right? You're going to have to ask questions about one of your competitors that wound up naked on a rooftop somewhere. And sorry, and it's not.
It's like Barstool for barbecue. We're all right with it.
Yeah, hopefully none of us watching will that be. But so we've cleared up a lot, right? And but there's still some stuff out there that are questions. But there's a lot of rumors and buzz since y'all kind of brought this on at the end of 2025. Is there anything out there that you've heard that you're like, oh my God, what is this? Is there any misconceptions or anything wild things that you've heard about this that you're just like, oh, where the hell did that come from?
I mean, listen, I would love to see some of the comments there, because like I have not, crazy. Yeah, I have not had a chance to, jot all those down, but yeah, it's funny. Oh, there was the one that comes to mind is, there's a group that we were having a conversation with on their event becoming a qualifier. And then I don't know, like 2 weeks later, I think it was somebody on our pitmaster committee was like, yeah, I was talking to so-and-so and they're super excited about their event. And they told us that they were the what was it? They were, I don't know, the official relationship for the Barbecue World Cup over in this part of the country. And I was like, oh, that's a new role. I had not heard of that one. But yeah, as you could imagine, like, we didn't have a whole lot of information when we came out and launched. And it was funny sitting back and just hearing people ask questions or, send us an email or comment on social or, pitmaster committee members. I know that they got crushed with a lot of things and, what's going on, what's this. So again, we're building a plane and flying it too. So it's been an interesting last couple months.
Yeah. What was the criteria on picking the contest? Was it just your committee came up and said these are the best? Because I noticed you didn't have any of the Mississippi Worlds. And let me tell you, Scott, that is 7 to 12 of the best teams in the country. It's not on the list.
Well, listen, we do that? We got the application now on the website. We gotta get the event in there. But hey, listen, at the very least we can do, like, with Barbecue Unite, I think that's a good little segue. Is Barbecue United is essentially what we're building, and then Barbecue World Cup is within Barbecue United. So again, think of ESPN and then a subset within ESPN of the World Cup and these other things. So Barbecue United is really what we're trying to build is the ultimate destination for any and all things barbecue, right? You got a catering company, you got a sauce, you got a seasoning, right? You got an event, you got a restaurant. Like, hey, let us come feature it. Like, we're trying to build a massive database of just people that love barbecue. And so I say all of that is, even for events that, aren't qualifiers right now, like we want to be able to promote and have a calendar with everybody's event around the world to be able to, if you're in this area, because that was the one thing that was interesting, again, from an outsider coming in. Like, we went down to Lakeland, we're talking to a bunch of people. It's like, how'd you get into competition cooking? They're like, well, it started, I took a class, right? So how do we create that? Like, put your zip code in. Here's the closest pitmaster to you. Like, go register, sign up to take their class, right? Nice. So we're just trying to build this hub, because it seemed like that was the catalyst for everybody that, we had talked to that started cooking, was they got to hang out with Wes and they built a relationship. And then when they went to that contest, they didn't feel like just there by themselves, right? Because, there's a community, but you guys got, such a tight-knit community of people. So somebody coming in from the outside that has no idea what they're doing, like having somebody that they can lean on helps, that we notice. So anyway, hopefully we get Mississippi on the board.
We're going to have conversations. The town meeting will happen next month. We'll get with you.
The Mississippi Worlds. I love it. Carlos says 10K entry. He's cool. He wants 5. Hook him up right there. There's your
verbal contract that is legally binding. Carl.
Yeah, it's on the show. We just posted it. You got to go to the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo contest last weekend. I saw you up there, visited with you. What'd you think of that?
Minus it. I mean, absolutely freezing.
Yeah, it was cold.
It was awesome, right? I mean, it's, and I hear everything about Houston. Houston's like, again, I know that's not, your turn in time and, turn in at 2 and, somebody rolls in at 4:00 with their chicken and it still counts. Like, but I hear the party there is incredible. That was the one thing I would say, like, we learned from that is, with San Antonio is we're going to adopt that in Vegas. So these, like Lone Star Cookers, thankfully, one of our potential, one of our friends down there, he's the CFO, I think, for the Lone Star Cookers, is 501c3. They have their 60 by 40 tent. They have all their sponsors inside. So we're literally looking at recreating that opportunity in Vegas. So if you have a 501c3 and you want to come out and take up a space and have a hospitality tent and you have your stage and your sponsors inside, you raise all that money for your 501c3, but come to Vegas, celebrate. So how do we bridge like the true competition side with this like fun party atmosphere? Because again, I've heard Houston, like you roll into somebody's tent, they got Garth Brooks performing. So, we're excited to see that. But San Antonio was a great starting point to prep us for that. And it was awesome to see that the team from Mexico.
Yeah.
And they went
bonkers. Team. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, trying to do the interview after, and this is like that is absolutely not my forte, and it is like nails on a chalkboard. Trying to go through and do that, especially when it was freezing. But it definitely, I realized real quick that I probably should have paid attention a little bit more in Spanish class in 7th grade.
Yeah, it's not our forte either. We're just winging it here too. So, but no, you already got an international squad that won San Antonio. Hopefully they'll be there, Team Mexico. I'm sure they will. Anybody that qualifies with these qualifiers better raise some funds and get your butt to Vegas, because that is great. I know you mentioned that you are still in negotiations with the site and where it may be. Is there a part of the year you're looking for next year? I know March and April has been mentioned. Is that still where y'all are eyeballing?
Yeah, April 27 is the target date. Nice. The target month. So we're leaning towards, again, this is, where you got to be careful about how much information you give, but like our target date is the 8th to the 11th. That's what we're targeting. But the city and, the convention, group out here in Vegas, may say, hey, this is a better date for us. But like we're 100%, shooting for April 27, but that's April 8th to the 11th is when we're shooting for.
There you go. That's where we'll be, Wes.
Yeah. Well, let's hope. I like this pass it down stuff. So it'd be good to get in the top 2, but I think that's a great idea. But I had a question for you. This thing, as we stated when we started off, it's the talk of barbecue. It is awesome. I mean, it's got everybody excited. The energy is out there, and it seems like that's what most people are shooting for. What is it going to take for you to continue this to part 2 of the next year? What is a success for Scott to say, you know what, we need to do this again? Because I understand this is a production. It is a ton of work. It's going to take a ton of money, obviously. What is a success to make this part 2? And will it always be in Vegas? That'll be part 2 of the question.
Part 1, it's a great question because, right, again, back to Shannon and I leaving to do this and dive into barbecue. Our goal is to, have this be 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? Like there's a lot bigger goals that we have for barbecue, right? Like, even getting out there where, we already are mapping out like the professional team side of things, right? So, you have a pathway where it's like, again, like I think that was the inspiration is, when I was talking with Phil and he's like, telling me how much he spends. And I'm like, well, how much do you make? I'm like, that's not a good business to be in competition, cooking and traveling and spending all the money you do. And there's not really a whole lot of, way to make money in that unless you are, successful at rubs and sauces and seasonings and you have classes and you're on social and, then you run into some people who don't like social. Like I hate putting up social posts, thank goodness for Shannon. So anyway, there's a lot of big things that we're looking at from a barbecue perspective where it's like, now we have professional teams and you got the LA Smoke and it's owned by LeBron. And then, you got somebody who's the GM, right? So anyway, like it's going to take everybody to get back to, kind of how this is going to keep going, right? Like we need everybody to come to Vegas, right? And this is, again, it's, we're looking at, a very low cost, potentially free event for families to come be a part of. And so it's this big festival of barbecue, right? Like we're having conversations with Jay Beaumont at Meat Stock to bring Meat Stock to the US.
Oh, nice. That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
So it's music, it's master classes, right? Like we want to help kind of promote all of these things in barbecue. So anyway, it's going to take the army of people to promote this, come to Vegas, right? Come be a part of this, this event. And if the people show out, then, right, investors, TV side start to look at this and go, man, there's a huge opportunity here, right? So the more that we can keep this community and engaged and, really talking about this, the bigger it gets, right? Like we hope in 5 years that somebody's getting $5 million,
That'd
right?
be awesome.
Now it's, even bigger. And then part 2 is Vegas is tough to not have something in, but we've had conversations with Nashville and, in Dallas and San Antonio and Atlanta. But who knows? Like maybe it becomes like, the true Super Bowl where we bounce around to different cities. I don't know. It's just, it's hard to beat coming to Vegas.
I love that. Bookie's going to be betting on barbecue. Can you imagine our names on one of them big ass walls in the MGM?
That's
with
coming.
Bets on it. With bets on it, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. But yeah, the TV thing, it brought a lot of us barbecuers into barbecue with the old barbecue pitmasters when they did that stuff like that. So the fact that you're bringing TV in, hopefully, we'll see what happens. But the fact that that's part of the plan is exciting because it's just going to bring new eyes to this sport. And like you mentioned, growth. That's how it happens. And I am excited, not so much that we don't bring our own equipment in, but the fact that we will be in a centralized location to where camera crews can come in and film and see what we're doing and stuff like that. It's going to make it easier, I feel, on a production side to showcase something like that. So that's exciting.
Totally. And it's interesting to, you look at all the TV shows and, again, we've done a lot of research on this, and the one challenge, that you have is, how do you keep something authentic? Right. And you got a lot of these TV shows, in Food Network where it's 10 people, right? And these are 10, pitmasters that everybody knows. And it's like elimination style. And, it's like, all right, you got a secret recipe you got to use, and it's elimination style. And to me, it's not like the true authentic version of like what competition cooking is, right? Barbecue USA and Michael Simon, like he went and actually, I thought it represented like going into the trailers and talking with the teams. And it was a little bit more of a representation of what competition cooking, is and was. And so it's tough to balance that, but our core is really going to lean in on trying to keep it authentic. But, how do you give a voice to the, 600,000 million competition cooks out there that do this? Right. Mm-hmm. And like, that's where the American Idol for barbecue kind of keeps coming up is, this is a pathway for anybody, right? Like I've used the example, Janice from Canada, like she brought her daughter down to San Antonio. Her daughter cooked the ribs, they got a call on the ribs. Mm-hmm. Right. And like, to me, that's awesome. Right. Having that ability where it's the true people that are out there cooking and doing this versus the people that have already made it in Hollywood. And then they bring them back on a TV show and do a competition. Like, to me, it's not the same.
No, this is exciting, man. I was coming into this very curious, open ears and open eyes to see and to listen to you guys and to really feel good about it, really feel excited more so than I already was. And I feel after listening to you and the plans behind it and the thought behind it and the fact you have a committee of pitmasters behind you and your history, Shannon's history. It all sounds great, man. I'm excited for the Barbecue World Cup for sure. Wes?
I'll say the parting stuff, man. If this does not go off like it's supposed to, because it's so, they will find you at the bottom of a lake with concrete shoes. Just so, no, I'm joking. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're right.
Golly, Wes.
Listen, they got to beat my wife to that. So, you know what I mean?
And the reason why I joke about this is I'm telling you, as I've said 20 times already on the show, this has rejuvenated so many people that are like, I don't really know if I want to do barbecue this year. I'm kind of burned out. And now they're like, man, I've got to get in this. I've got to go to try to qualify to get in the show. So, I mean, kudos to you guys. It's a phenomenal thing. I'm sure a lot of people out there have talked about doing something on this scale. They just haven't done it. And then here you are, taking care of it. So, I mean, kudos to you and your team.
But to your point, right? Like, again, we need people to show up, in Vegas, in April, right, to support this. And, we need the brands, we need sponsors, we need people to, come buy tents and, have their
visitors. We need the people out there.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last thing I would say, like the story, right? I think one of the cool stories that we've already got is, is Incognito from Fred's event, CBA Worlds, right? Like
Danny,
we sent him,
Danny
we talked to him, and he was like, hey, like I've been going through some challenges. I've been out of competition cooking for a while. I saw this. I was like, man, let me see if I still got it. He came back in and was like, and he won, and he was like, man, that's why I did it. Like, and so those are the stories that are like awesome that we want to be able to share and, get televised and all of those things in the future.
100%. You got a few qualifiers already in that. Chris Hatcher, he's qualified. AJ Garza's watching. He is qualified. You mentioned Danny. He's there. I will say the only sanction and body president that is watching right now, it's Fred Robles from CBA. So if that has anything
it's a low budget one. I mean,
to do with it, there's your hand model, at the very least, a hand model. But he's a world champion. We got a lot of world champions in the comments right now. So you have revitalized. If anybody is not so much down on competition barbecue, I don't know that. I feel like the sport has really picked up and is doing well. But you definitely have put a little pep in the step of some of us guys that have been doing it a while to go out there, because this is exciting. This is nothing that we have seen out there before.
Yeah, and it was fun, when we were at the AT&T Stadium. I mean, having the conversations
Steve Oler,
with you.
my bad, Steve Oler too.
Oh, that's funny. But even Brenda, I see in the comments, and Phil, and we're talking about all that stuff down there, and they're probably like, this dude's out of his mind, and you're having this conversation because it's like, it was 2 years ago, and here we sit today, and it's, now it's, you can feel it and touch it, and it's a lot more well thought out, and there's a lot of big things that we have, really to just not only competition but just support barbecue in general.
Well, yeah, I saw you at San Antonio, and you said, I remember I told you we were doing something like that. I was like, yeah, this, I hadn't heard from you in 2 years, but this is amazing, man. This is awesome. I'm excited.
Sometimes you just need to get in that studio and put in the work. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Wes, before we let Scott get out of here, thank you for your time, man. I know, didn't know how long it was going to go, but you've been at it for an hour now, and I appreciate you've been answering questions. Real quick, the last time we're going to have Mr. Scott on for a little while. We'll get him back on as the year progresses. But if you have questions, put them in the comments right now, and we'll ask him a couple more before we get out of here. Wes, do you have any last one that you want to ask by chance?
Man, you have done a great job of really today, whenever the show was coming up, if you could see my inbox, my messenger of people, ask this, and then the conversations we've had, and you and your team have done a good job of answering those. I understand that as the year goes on, we'll find out more detail because it's kind of fluid. So, man, I just think this is overall great. You saw some of the comments that I've been popping up and showing. You got people that they're saying, man, this makes it fun again. This makes me want to get back into it. And it just gets stagnant. That's all. I mean, the people that are doing it, it's, you jump from contest to contest. And again, it just gives us a target to shoot at. So no more questions. You've really answered everything. Still going to wait for that financial report you could put out so we can see the money. No, people have been asked about that. Like, all right, it's going to happen. So we're not going to go this far and it not happen. So it's, man, listen, all I have is not questions. It's just compliments and kudos to you.
Yeah, listen, we get it, right? This, you're talking about a shitload of money, right? I mean, this is like life-changing money.
It is.
I wish I could cook. I've taken a stab at brisket a handful of times, and I text Luke and I'm like, dude, like everything you told me, I felt like I did, but anyway, it's like I had a hype video that I produced a long time ago, and it was like, pitmasters are willing to tell you everything they know, and then they'll sit back and laugh and say, good luck. Right. Like that was like one of the things. And it's like, it's true. So true. So anyway, it's been awesome. We're around, like reach out media wise. Like we want to create a media row out at the World Cup. So if you have podcasts, if you make it, great. If not, like we want to have you out there. We want to create a media row where we have all the, barbecue media folks out there. So if you have a media side of things and you want to come out and, be involved, like love to have you.
Well, awesome. At the very least, I'll be doing that. Hopefully I'll be competing. Man, this has been awesome. You've answered, like Wes said, you've answered all the questions that I had on my 2 sheets here. Really without some of me asking yet, but this is great, man. This is great. Where are you going to be next? Are you going to be going to any of these contests? You mentioned Houston. Are you going to be in Houston by chance?
Yeah, we'll be in Houston. We were trying to go to Smokin on the Rio this weekend, but I don't think it's going to work out. My pops is in the hospital, so I got to go visit him.
Sorry,
I appreciate that. He's good, but yeah, I think that's going to derail that one, unfortunately. But yeah, Houston, I'm trying to look at the schedule. The Memphis in May, right? Like if pending, we can get all that stuff finalized. The KCBS, the Worlds there, DC Barbecue Battle, the South Carolina Festival Discovery,
Lebanon, Tennessee, Smoking on the Shores. Any chance you're going to be there?
That one's TBD right now.
Okay.
Because that's the same time. No, yeah, that one's just TBD right now. So, it's also one of those things you realize that, my wife and kids, right, traveling every weekend to be at all of these events. They're awesome. We definitely want to get to that point. But TBD on Smoking on the Shores.
Wonderful.
Sweet.
Wonderful. Hey, well, you got I'll be in Houston. You're welcome to, I hope you come by and stop by, and I'll send you my information, my spot location, so you can stop by and check out what we got over there. And across from me is one of your qualifiers, Chris Hatcher. He's there as well. We're right up next to each other. So I'm sure you got plenty of places to come visit, but come see us for sure, and we'll entertain you and your group for certain, man.
But listen, don't I saw some fire. We'll throw back some fireball, man. We're not afraid.
No, you got to watch who you do that with. I can promise you that. Parting question before we leave, just last little. When do you expect to have the next update on the website? When's the next meeting?
Sorry, say that the next update.
When
on
is
the website?
the next meeting that we may have an update on the website to look at?
Got it. Well, the website's up there. It's live right now. Like I think we already have 200 and something members, that have already signed up and paid. So, we're fired up, so that it's up and running. There's going to be a lot of iterations over the next couple of days, or I should say over the next couple of weeks, just to make sure we're getting all of this information up there. And again, if you have feedback, we love the feedback, right? Like, we're not afraid of the website shit. Like, I can't understand it. Like, it's all good. Like, we don't take any of this stuff personal. Like, we obviously are trying to build this website. So love the feedback. But yeah, the website's up right now live. It's not, like I said, it's up there as a placeholder right now to start to take some of these qualifying events, put them up there, list them out. So yeah, if you see some things wrong with it, don't be shy to send those out. And if you guys, my email is scott@bbqworldcup.com. Shannon's is shannon@bbqworldcup.com. So if you guys want to reach out, we love the feedback. Somebody that's got an event that wants to qualify, on the website, you'll be able to fill out a form, right? You have your pitmaster team on there. Click on that, register your team. We want to have a world map of all the pitmaster competition teams around the world. We want their bios, their information. Like, we're just trying to make this, put a big spotlight on, competition cooking and barbecue in general.
That's awesome. And this is awesome. This is exciting. Thank you for putting it together and kind of, spearheading this thing. And everybody, go to these contests, go to these qualifiers, and win to get in.
Yeah, we'll put a list of the qualifiers on there from your website, which you can check out the website at BBQWorldCup.com. Scott, thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure meeting you 2 years ago. It was a pleasure seeing you again a couple years ago and a couple weeks ago. But man, I am so excited for this. And you just revitalized a lot of people here in this sport, and we're excited. And this is a big deal for competition barbecue. There's a lot of great people in this sport, and the fact that we got something to look forward to that'll showcase some of our talents, some of these people's backstories, whatever it may be. I'm all for it. And, that's kind of what we do on this show, is we like to highlight people that maybe have not been highlighted before. And I feel like your event is going to do the same thing for a lot of people that the country don't know about in our sport, because hell, you can turn on TV and see, some crazy stuff, and no knock on
hot dog eating competitions, right?
Exactly.
Like, how the hell did this make it on TV?
I like bags, but ESPN the Ocho, and they actually have an ESPN the Ocho. I don't know if that's
They do. I did not know that. Seriously, they really do.
I know. I thought it was crazy. Last thing is, a couple of times somebody asked, is there a kids queue involved in this yet?
Yeah, so we're like, that's an important thing that we're trying to figure out. The challenge is you don't have a huge focus on it on the regional and like kind of local level. But yes, we're trying to feel like that's one of the things that we're going to try to figure out. And I know Fred's on here. I know CBA's got a great, kids queue program. I know KCBS has a kids queue, but yeah, how do we just take the top 10, from kids queues, and then have them come out? So yes, 100%, we're going to have a kids component,
cool.
For it as well.
Awesome. Well, Wes, you got anything else before we let Scott?
Age limit on that kids queue. It gets up to what, 47?
Yeah.
I'm just, look, F them kids, man.
Hey,
we need the money.
And any way to get in.
I just want to be on the strip, brother.
Wes, I got one last thing for Wes. So the good news is we have one judge that's officially locked in to the World Cup. It's Judge 4 from table 981 from Galaxy.
Yeah. And with that, Scott, we appreciate you coming on. Let's go ahead and send him out of here really good.
Hey, Scott, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on our show to talk about this for the first time. You know, a live show like this, you answered questions in real time. This is big, man. And I want to invite you back once you get more solidified on the plans and whatnot. We'd love to have you back and, you know,
Totally.
just continue the buzz with this thing. But I think it's just going to grow without.
Blowing up, man. Blowing up.
This is amazing.
Well, we wish everybody the best of luck, man. It's exciting. And, you know, back to the super team thing, I think it was interesting because, you know, Darren actually didn't compete with, I forget, it's Jeff, maybe, Shannon Grinnan down in England. Yep. And they separated because they were like, I'm not going to qualify with you because then you make it if you win, and or you know, and if I make it, you don't go. So they competed separately, and it was fun to see.
And Darren won, right?
Yeah.
He's in.
Yeah, RGC. Ironically, Fred Vegas, won the GC.
Great guy, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and just not seeing Darren win again was just fantastic. So I mean, I'm glad he got to get in. I mean, the guy usually wins everything, but you know, the fact that he got in and not on a GC, I was happy for it. He's in the comments. He's been busting my chops, so I had to say that.
So lots of great information shared tonight. $1 million prize pool is real, people. It's coming and it's going to a GC. And then there's extra money going to be tied into this. So, man, this is really cool. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it, man. And again, we'll touch base later throughout the year. And whenever you want to come on, just reach out to me and say, hey, we got some cool news.
We got some updates.
Yeah, 100%. You just reach out to me and we'll definitely get you on, man. But thank you again for making this one of your first stops, man. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Scott.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Wes.
All right, Scott Erdmann with the BBQ World Cup. Lots of great information. I'm more excited than I already was. Wes, how about you, bro?
I am, man. But I will echo what some people have said in there. I'm glad to be at the upper echelon of, I guess, the fitness test for some of these cooks. Jordan, that was towards you, buddy. Love you. But 3 days, we're going to need a back brace sponsor. We're going to need some orthopedic shoes.
Oh,
man, this is going to be tough. Like whoever wins this is going to put in the work, and they're going to earn this $1 million. I mean, standing up, doing this, I mean, it's going to be a very, very difficult. And if they split it up and decide to do different sanctioning bodies and where it falls, so let's say they do MBN the first, you're doing all pork and whatever, man, that's going to throw some really great cooks out, or vice versa. You get to the finals and who the hell wants to go up against a Myron Mixon in the finals on the NBN, so it's super exciting.
I do like the 3-day challenge, honestly. I mean, it'd be kind of, I don't know, not so much. It'd just be for one day to go on and just do a Saturday event, right? And it's for this whole big deal to build up to just one day. I do like the fact it's a 3 day. It's going to be, sprawled out over a few days. There's going to be, sounds like a convention, basically a barbecue convention out there. And for sure, even if you aren't able to get one of those coveted spots in there, I'm going to go out there regardless just to see what's going on and be out there. But I definitely plan to 100 be a competitor that weekend, just like everybody else wants to be a competitor out there. And there's a few handful that are in the comments that already competed or have already qualified, like Darren, Chris, Steve Oler, and AJ, and some others. It's exciting, man. It's really cool. And the fact that Scott and his team, Shannon, have brought this to the forefront, and this is going to be, it's already the buzz of barbecue right now, but for it to continue, it's going to be amazing.
Hey, don't you think that's going to, I don't want to say the word force, but it's going to encourage teams to kind of cross over sanctioning bodies to practice for it. You got people that don't do half chickens. They don't do certain things, certain styles. They're going to come into Texas and other places and say, man, I need to come in and see where I fall, because we don't know if this is going to be the first, second, or third day. And we've got it really is going to force people to get out and cross lines.
Yeah. I've already said, and I feel like the lines aren't as, solid as they were. They're kind of blurred now, with a lot of Texas teams going. I'm just speaking for Texas, but a lot of Texas teams that go to Kansas City and elsewhere, Mississippi, wherever we go, and Mississippi teams coming over and doing that,
Mississippi team.
Take
that ass off there.
The barbecue Hall of Famer, politically correct.
The team came over into that
Mississippi.
Yeah.
Let me put that in proper context. The Mississippi Hall of Famer, barbecue.
Just
Hall of Famer.
as Reagan calls me, Sippy. Just say Sippy.
There you go. But just the fact that they're already blurred, right? That there's, I saw, like I mentioned, Darren, Gabe, they've come in there, Janky Leg, Brad, they've all come in there. They've done the half chickens. We've all gone up there and done the thighs and everything else. So it is, but yes, to your point, yeah, go out there and try, spread your wings, because an event like this, where it's going to force you to do something maybe outside of your wheelhouse or outside of your norm, you got to go out there and practice before you get to the big show and do something like that.
Absolutely. You do. There's going to be people coming to Vegas, regardless if they're in it or not. You're going to want to be around that excitement, that vibe, just the inaugural show out there and see how it happens. So, man, this is going to be great.
How do you feel
more
about
excited
those,
now?
How do you feel about those type of contests, kind of like World Food, where it's almost, or even the ones that you're seeing now on television, where they call it a barbecue contest, but it's a burger. Definitely not it's a burger.
It's doing a breakfast something.
Or you gotta whip up some mashed potatoes with something that makes and bone marrow and some other bullshit on there, right? It's to me, he's kept this as a barbecue competition, which I love, and the fact that he has pitmasters behind there giving their input is encouraging to me.
Well, it may piss some people off, but I think anytime you create fire, you turn on an eye and it's hot, or whatever, people call that barbecue, because it's cooking over live fire. I love this fact that it is a true barbecue. I mean, you're cooking with a smoker or offset or whatever it is. So yeah, I can appreciate that. The live fire stuff, or the maybe the world foods. Again, I don't want to piss anybody off, but don't really care. I don't look at that as true barbecue. It is what it is. So I'll get hate mail, but this is true barbecue. And I think this is the purest form, because you're not going into a certain sanctioning body. So at first I was like, I don't know about that. Now, the more I think about it, I said, whoever wins this, we're going to all look at, this is going to be a true champion, because they're going to have to go through 3 days of hell to win it. So think about what this is going to do, not just $1 million for your reputation.
$1 million.
I forgot to
perfectly timed.
Every time somebody said $1 million, I forgot
$1 million.
I would do this for like $67 and 30 cents.
I just
to go to Vegas if you pay my flight. So I don't even need $1 million. I wish that there was a way they would take that overall instead of winner take all and just put it through the category. So, 15th place could get $25,000. Come on, let's spread the love here. I got to get out of debt.
You walk into the MGM Grand and you're in the sports book. That big screen with all the green and red letters with the, the numbers and the minus, 125. Who's on the top of your betting board?
Oh,
it's almost like power rankings right now, but who's on the top of your betting board in Vegas?
Honestly,
we don't know the contestants yet.
And I normally would be like, I can't say that because I almost want to give you my top 5, but if I'm doing this right this second, and I've got to put my hopes and dreams and my little $100 bet to hope it turns into $100,000. I'm going Paul Keltner.
Paul Keltner.
I'm going Paul Keltner and Lynn with Rooters and Tutors because of how hot and consistent. And I think it being a 3-day period with how just absolutely on fire they were last year, and I'm sure they will be this year, I've got to go Paul and Lynn. What about yourself?
Top of the leaderboard in Vegas for a 3-day event. That means you got to be good across all possibly different sanctioning bodies. Have they ventured out of KCBS much?
It's a fair point, but fair point. I feel that Paul can pretty much cook everything. Giving him a lot of kudos. The guy just kind of does his thing, and I think he could. But yeah, you got to think about a chicken fried. You got to think about a Phil. Unfortunately, a Fred. Hopefully he doesn't make it. F that guy. But those guys that do cross over, they may have the leader. But I'm still going with Paul Keltner in my mind. That's where my $100 bet's going to.
I gotta go. I'm gonna give some love to a Texas boy that has done well and just dove into this sport head first. And he told me this year that he is doing more KCBS. He's doing more.
Oh, do not say it.
More of events out there. I don't think you know who I'm talking about.
Okay, good.
I mean, you know who I'm talking about, but I don't think it's on your forefront of your brain right now. But you can't go wrong right now with the consistency of Mr. fucking Carl Davis.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
Cast iron cookers. The guy is just, he does other sanctioning bodies, but it's still in Texas. So we're still doing, not so much half chickens anymore. You can do whatever the hell you want, but so he's still cooking tender, right? Because he's in Texas, right? He's still cooking tender. And that's something you have to change when you go outside of Texas. But I'd put Carl on my leaderboard right now.
He would definitely be up there. I mean, and look, that guy can turn in beans and get a top 5 in brisket at any freaking contest. I mean, he's a hell of a cook, man.
Turn in beans and get a top 5 in brisket.
Now he sounds like a bowl of butter beans when he talks. Don't let that fool you. The guy is a hell of a cook and is serious. And honestly, I've been looking at that class with him and Phil. So I want to come look at some things. So there's still a spot I may have to hit that up.
What I love and respect about Carl is that he doesn't take things too seriously, right? Barbecue shouldn't be that serious. There are times where you got to dial in, right? You got to lock in and get focused and do all that. But I don't know that Carl ever locks in and gets focused, but he just has his routine. He cooks every damn weekend. So that definitely helps, man.
Yeah, it does. You get locked in and you'll see people when their season starts, it may not go, but when you start getting into a trend, you'll see the scores go up. But yeah, man, that guy cooks 40 something times a year, if not 50.
Of course, down here you got the Bill and the Phil and the Freds, like you mentioned, but you also got, Smoking and Toasting. A lot of these guys, Sergio Chapa, AJ Garza, they've been doing. Chris Hatcher, the North Texas legend, is coming on strong. Of course, Sure Shot. Eddie. Who'd you boo, Chris or Eddie?
That was Eddie. I can't boo Chris. That's all little Eddie, like little hay bale. I call him hay bale.
So in Vegas, will we be seeing any of this?
Muchas novias, hoy tengo a una, mañana otra, ey. Pero no hay boda. Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Muchas novias, hoy tengo a una, mañana otra. Me las voy a llevar a todas pa' un VIP, ey. Saluden a Titi, vamos a tirarnos un selfie. Say cheese.
So the fact that you brought that up and slid that in there, I have actually already had paper served on Mr. Eddie Morales.
Oh, really?
Yes, he doesn't really have a home, so he's kind of tracking him down. Don't get added to the lawsuit. This is all AI generated. All of that was there's no way I can dance that well. I can just tell you right now.
Yes. Are those your abs? Are those real? You got abs?
Oh man, let me tell you. As soon as I saw that and he posted, I was like, man, I haven't been built like that ever. Where those arms come from? And then the guy started turning. I was like, there's no way I can dance that well today. Oh, there we go. I missed
we got our first super chat. Play it again. Okay, we'll play it again right after this one.
$1 million.
muchas novias. Hoy tengo a una, mañana a otra, ey. Pero no hay boda. Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Muchas novias. Hoy tengo a una, mañana a otra. Me las voy a llevar a todas pa' un VIP, ey. Saluden a Titi, vamos a tirarnos un selfie. Say cheese.
All right.
So fucking terrible.
Thank you. All right, Wes. So what's on the agenda for you? You mentioned smoking on the shores for sure.
So me and Hannah, we have set out. We've actually got our schedule. We're starting getting it finalized. We're waiting for stuff to get on the KCBS schedule so we can, find out where we're going. And our goal is to do a minimum of 2 a month, hopefully 3, and nice. Rock and roll. We're going to also expand, and we're kind of having to at a necessity because a lot of the cooks that we would normally do every year, they're not showing up. And some of them are saying, yeah, we got to get on the schedule. So we're waiting for our schedule to fill out on the KCBS website. So that way we can finalize what we're doing. So may sneak in the Sippin' Swine, but as of right now, it looks like Lebanon, Tennessee, Smoke on the Shores, which is a huge one, will be our setting off point for this year. And then we'll actually just roll from there.
Can you make it down to Houston in 2 weeks?
I should have went last year, but it depends if anybody will allow me on Champions Row. And because if I've got to go sit with the peasants, I'm not coming. If somebody will allow me to come in here and sit with the royalty, I may swing down there.
Eddie's on Champions Row.
Well, yeah, flights are booked. There's no sense in trying to make it.
I'm pretty sure Bill is there as well for Austin. Eddie for San Antonio. You got some spots. You got some spots to come out there, and you can always hang out with us. We're not on Champions Row, but we got the best spot out.
Well, that's all right. Well, you got tickets into a good booth, so
that's right.
Be good.
That's right. Well,
a little hay bale. I may make it down there.
So this weekend I'll be at Smoking on the Rio. I'm going to go and try and qualify this weekend. Finished 10th overall in San Antonio. Not bad. I had a good time out there. That was
good
fun.
Job, man. Congrats.
Thank you very much. So hoping to do 9 spots better this weekend and see what happens. But that's a qualifier. Houston's a qualifier. I feel all these qualifiers are like, 250 freaking plus team events. But hey, you know what? If you want to qualify and be part of the big boys, go out there and compete with them. So, yeah. Well, what a show, man. That was great. Thank you very much for co-hosting with me tonight. Sorry that producer Ty couldn't be here, but you did an amazing job. Thanks for staying on top of the comments. Wes, I appreciate you, brother, but I think we're going to get out of here. Thank you to the Gooder Gang for chiming in. It's been a well-watched show, and I hope we answered questions that everybody had on there. And if you didn't, you had your opportunity to post them in there, and we would have asked them. Wes, what'd you think of tonight, bro?
I loved it. Thank you for having me on, man. A little rusty coming out, but I haven't done this in a minute, but that was fun. Enjoyed it. Got a lot of questions. Matter of fact, I got every question that I wanted answered from Scott. So I was super happy about that. Be looking for any updates that they may be posting on the website, but I thought that was awesome. So people, look, if you got any questions, go hit the show, replay it. Everything you can possibly want to know about what they're thinking and what they're going to do is in this show. So love
100%.
Thank the Gooder Gang for having me.
Thank you, producer and co-host Wes. You can hang out here while I close out the show. I don't need to drop you down. But again, Gooder Gang, thank you very much. If you're new here, again, we do this each and every Wednesday night at 8:00 Central. I appreciate you tuning in. We had a wonderful guest. Thank you to Scott. Thank you to Shannon with the Barbecue World Cup. They were amazing. They've got some big plans, and I keep saying it, I'm excited about the $1 million
for $1 million.
That is amazing. That's worth the price of admission for sure. But thank you very much again for tuning in. We'll be back next week. In 2 weeks, we're going to be coming to you live from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Next week, I've got a feeler out for another great guest that has to do with Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. We'll see if we can get the leaders of the HLSR judging room on the show. I got that reached out because there's a lot of questions around that, how they actually judge. So we'll see if we can get them on. That's what I'm reaching out for. No guarantees, but that's what we're reaching out for. All right. For my co-host, Mr. Wes Garrett, and producer Ty, who's not here with us, my name is Rob Arocha. I appreciate you watching. Tune in next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We'll be back. Case, close us out.
Good night to all of you wonderful people in Barbecue Nation. You too, California.
Well, I thought